This is television for the Isles of Scilly, brought to you with Worldwide Financial Planning, Truro and Penwith College, and the Scilly Lottery. From Radio Scilly, this is scillytv.com.
How long have you been involved with this now, Shelterbox? Years, isn't it?
Yeah, right since the very beginning. Since about '99 actually. Yeah, when I first came out here, I'd already been doing some promotional work for Shelterbox. I met Tom Henderson then, and he'd only just. It was a very new idea to him and the Rotary Club of the Lizard and Helston and the Lizard. So yeah, right since the very beginning.
Now, the most recent major disaster that's hit the headlines, I mean, there's been a landslip in Bolivia. It's funny, actually, but not funny. But since we've been doing Shelterbox, I tend to take more notice of these sort of tragedies. I suppose the big one, the Christchurch earthquake. Yeah. You're helping with that because it is such a developed country. They seem to have systems in place, don't they?
Yeah, they do have a huge amount in place. In fact, just as a quick story, we had a phone call 2 days ago from a lady who's a doctor who is coming out to stay in one of our properties at Island Properties in April, I think, sometime around about the middle of April, so not very far away. And she phoned up to say that she was a little bit late in making her final payment, and to apologise, but she'd been caught up in the disaster in Christchurch. Obviously, I have a daughter in New Zealand, or thank God she's in North Island, but so I've had a lot to do with that. And this lady was actually staying in the Novotel, which is directly opposite Christchurch Cathedral in Cathedral Square. And she and her husband had been out. They were actually leaving Christchurch the evening that the earthquake hit, and so I've had a lot of first-hand feedback from her. And what actually happened was she and her husband were out, although they were involved with the earthquake quite closely, and it was obviously a very frightening part of the time. They went back to the hotel at the end of the afternoon to this total devastation in Christchurch. They weren't allowed in the hotel, although Novotel stood up to the quake quite well. Nobody was allowed in any of the buildings. All of their cases had been kept down in the bowels of the hotel so they could pick them up at the end of the day to fly out from Christchurch Airport. So they were looked after, she said, extremely professionally by the people who were around. The whole of the emergency system really worked very, very well, and she was very impressed with everything that happened. They were flown out, she and her husband were flown out to Wellington, but with an RAF plane, New Zealand Air Force plane, and they were put up in Wellington for a short period of time, and then flown directly back to the UK. But they came back with absolutely nothing, only the clothes they stood up in. Thankfully, they had their passports on them when they were out during the day. But they've been promised that their bags will be returned to them as soon as they can get into the hotel to actually remove the baggage. So it was quite a first-hand. A lot of first-hand information, and it is a horrendous thing. Shelterbox are there. They're supporting a lot of the affected families on the outskirts of Christchurch. Obviously, it's not only the buildings that have come down, but there's a huge problem with water and the general infrastructure and electricity and all that sort of thing. So again, Shelterbox kicks in.
A third of buildings are going to have to come down in the whole city.
It's billions and billions of
pounds,
isn't it? Yeah. There are lots of ways anybody can donate to the problems there, and there will be stuff on the website. The stuff on the Shelterbox website, actually, if you want to donate. You can also donate, actually, while I'm on donations, very, very quickly, I've set up a page on www.justgiving.com. If you do want to sponsor Shelterbox at all, and you don't want to come along and necessarily be identified as a sponsor, you can go on to justgiving.com. If you put my name, Tim Guthrie, that's Guthrie, for those of you who don't know, in the sponsor a friend search box on the home page of that, my page will come up, and it is dedicated totally to Shelterbox, so you can do that, or get a cheque to me. A lot of the Shelterboxes have come from Australia. And I think a lot of people stop me and say, well, wasn't there a huge problem between Australia and Shelterbox UK? Yes, there was. My understanding is that that's sort of been smoothed over a little bit, and Shelterbox was set up like it's set up in many countries. In New Zealand there's Shelterbox NZ, so again you can go online and donate direct to there if you wish. And the Australians have sent in a lot of tents and boxes themselves directly into New Zealand. Horrendous disaster that could affect Australia as well. You know, I mean, who knows? There are lots of places that earthquakes in the world hit. New Zealand is particularly vulnerable, I know. But yeah, so that's New Zealand. Lots of other things going on with Shelterbox in general. You know, there are still, as you just mentioned it, there are disasters all over the world, landslips and things, where Shelterbox comes into its own.
Some thank yous.
Yeah, some thank yous. Thank you very much. I know there's another thing coming soon, which I won't mention now. We'll leave that for another day. But £300 again from the entertainers, absolutely fantastic. You know what it's like, Harry? It's damn hard to put on a show.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't meaning to indicate anything about this. But you know, these guys and girls who spend, Maggie's crew, you know, the things got to be written, all the stage lighting and everything else. They put a huge amount of time in, and then they come along afterwards and give 300 quid to Shelterbox. Thank you very much. It's absolutely fantastic. I have written to them, but you know, it's always good to say a little something on air.
Now tell me about your Cowboy Evening.
Yes, getting back onto more Rotarie matters. On the 26th of March we're having a Cowboy Evening up at the golf club. It's a general fundraising, you know, general Rotarie charities. There are a huge amount that Rotarie does, which, you know, polio, eradication of polio and all those sort of things. So we do need basic funds. So there will be some posters, I hope, going up very soon around the islands. Do come along and join us. Ray Jackman from the Jack Beats will be playing. Brian Thomas will be putting on his DJ music as well. It'll all be geared a bit towards a good old country hoedown evening, and the food will be provided as well. So we're looking forward to that. So anybody who fancies a good night out on the 26th of March, come on up to the golf club, and we'll get. I know you'll be absolutely guaranteed a laugh, if nothing else.